Hello there, this is Divine TV. My name is Kemi Iwalesi, your host on this amazing show, She World, where we discuss everything about the female gender, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the very beautiful. I have an amazing guest on the show today, but before I introduce her, or before I call her to introduce herself, we'll go on a short break. Welcome back. My guest, I call her the charity preacher, but I would like her to introduce herself.
Last morning viewers at home and world over. I'm Rotarian Adebayo Adetoro Moba Adjao, an ambassador for peace. I'm a humanitarian social worker by profession, and I'm a charity worker. Thank you.
Only one person. She's a lot of things, but you realize why she is. Because she runs a home where we have people living with disability, and a lot of them even mental disability, not only physical. They are combined, but all of them have mental disability. How did you come about this? How?
Wow. That's one great question people normally ask me. And outrightly, as I used to answer people as it happened, from the onset, I never had it in mind that someday I will serve these my adorable angels, permit me to say it that way, as we call them in Adoka home. I never thought I would serve person living with disabilities. But right from my childhood, I think I've been living a kind of service life. Because our parents, these are people that are prone to caring for people and some other sort of that. Our personal reason anyway, which sometimes I don't normally put on when I'm granting interview, but at least something push you to do something.
Yes.
I lost my mom at a very tender age. I guess I was going to 3 thereabout. And my uncle raised me, kudos to him, in our hometown. He raised me, and they're very good and okay. But I got to realize while growing up that the paradise of every child is at the heels of their mother. Because I missed that woman that gave birth to me anyway, and I cried ocean when growing up. That passion to have mother, mostly during Christmas party, or when we are doing festival at home, during festive period. I missed her. And I would be thinking, then I normally discuss with my friend at school that when I grow up and become famous and have money, you know, those children, this thing, that after having my own family, I want to build home whereby I'll be caring for people, motherless people. I did not even know that there are kind of orphanages or motherless home. I was just dreaming. I wanted to know if it's possible for a mother to love another people's children as if they are hers. I have my personal reason for that, you know, put on media. I wanted to, I guess I like this, and I wanted to see how it will happen when I get there then. So as fate will have it, peradventure, I studied social work as my diploma before I run my degrees, postgraduate, masters, and all sort of. But with all the few certificates I had, I think I respect social work so much because God used it to really channel me to my destiny path. So I was growing just to have a home, care for children that doesn't have mother, regular ones. But as fate we have it, as social work student, we normally go on field work and some other things. So during those periods, and during the time I started serving humanity, I came across people that their case were terrible compared to even what I was, my childhood experience. And these are people that even some of them then, when we started Adoka home, we thank God that society are getting to understand them better now. When we started, I saw them as people that even with their parents tend not to want them.
Mm.
Simply because society does not want them.
Mm.
So they put them behind closed doors. Some they silence them, they kill them, and they throw them away and all sorts of. I came in contact with them, and the first day I saw them, I didn't know what happened. They stole my heart. And getting home, I started thinking that these people, they are this, they are that, they could not work, they could not do this, they could not do that. And fortunately for me, I was a network marketer, trained from Forever Living Product. I deal with people's ailments, we train them, stroke and all these things that they get better. Then my inquisitive mind was now like, if I make my profits, if I buy my product, I can use it to take care of, because sometimes when I talk, people ask me that, are you a medical doctor? I'll say I'm not, but with what I have learned. So, and I love to make research. So then I started thinking that I can do this for this, do this for this, do this for this. So I became a volunteer in a place whereby I saw these people, but what they are doing was terrific. So I became a volunteer. I would say, let me see what I can do to make the ants okay, the air, the this. So I started giving them supplement. Then when it was time for me to start mine, you know, I've been serving humanity here and there and there. I just sat and made the decision that if there are people I really want to serve with my life, as my life purpose, I think these people really need me, my service, more than anything. And we started. And ever since, it has been eventful from year to year. And here we are, still moving on.
You've done so much for these people, because I can't call them children. I've seen some of them. I know some of them are over 20.
The youngest is even 9 years old.
The youngest is 9.
Yes,
Wow, Abekiola is 9.
Yes.
Wow. One thing that I realized is like people living with disability, especially when it comes to mental disability, they are abandoned. We see them as evil. We call them snake. We call them evil children. We've labeled them. One thing I've known about human beings is what we don't understand, we run away from. And in running away from it, to justify our running away from it, we label it a very bad name. And some of these things, I know we've discussed this in another show, are caused by parents. A lot of parents will refuse to have CS when it is necessary. So when these children have gone through stress before they were born, they will come out with some form of disability. Then we abandon them for what they know nothing about. Some of them could be jaundice. I've seen parents with jaundice children, and they will refuse to keep their children in the hospital. They will take the child home. Then when it turns to something else, we now reject that child. Some are in a hurry to go and have the naming ceremony of a child you will not look after in the future. There are a lot of things we are doing that at least let it be some of those ones we cannot help. Let it be those ones that, okay, there's nothing we could have done that caused it. And labeling these children is not good for them. It's not good for us. We all want to be loved. Why are we looking at those children and labeling them? How would you have felt if you are in their shoes? How many of them do you have in your home right now?
Right now, we have 23 of them that are with us presently. And they are challenged differently. Yes, there are multiple challenges. We have those challenges with ataxia, asphyxia, hydrocephalus, muscular dystrophy, cerebral palsy, spinal bifida. And there are 23 in number now.
Okay, some of the names I don't even understand what you are saying. But two of the names I know, cerebral palsy and spinal bifida.
Okay.
And the unfortunate thing about spinal bifida is that ordinary folic acid would have done this. folic acid of maybe 200 naira. When you are pregnant, don't take things for granted. When you are still having babies, don't take things for granted. Folic acid is very cheap. They sell it 100 per pack, and I think it's about 200 naira. It's the cheapest thing. Yeah. Not using that now that will now make you have a child that will be giving you stress in the future. I know some parents take on their children and love them even with all their challenges. But a lot are abandoned. A lot are taken out of the children. They have 5 children and one is living with disability. They will say they have 4 children. There are a lot of things we are doing that are not good. And another question I'm going to ask you before we go on another break. You answer the question after the break. The parents that have these children, do they come to check on them at all?
Yes, we have just few, very few that comes. Because one thing I've gone to realize in this side of the world is the fact that most of these parents, they don't believe anything good can happen with these children, and it's so pathetic. And as I normally tell some of them, by the time I have contact with them, that you all cause what happened to these children. None of these children either cause it upon us themselves. So I would say like about 75% of them are abandoned.
Wow.
And we have about 25 that still comes around to save those children.
Okay, we'll go on a short break now. We'll be on a short break now. As we were discussing, only 25% of the parents come to check on the children. Yeah. So somehow they've abandoned them to you.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to know what are the causes of some of these things, and are they preventable?
Yes, they are preventable but not curable. And that's one major reason I normally like it when we go out to lecture society about, we started during Abeke's case.
Yes.
Because say for example like Abeke's case, she's 9 years old now, but we got her, she was the youngest in age I ever, challenge child I ever cared for. And I believe my heart is with that girl. We admitted her when she was 1 year and 2 months. And based on the medical report, because I normally ask for the medical report, so I will know what and how to help or whatever. So she was challenged with asphyxia stage 3, HIE, hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy. And when I went into research says 75% of them, they would definitely die at 18th month. And the remaining 25 will be useless. And you know we have admitted her. On reading that, I felt for her because she was in her 14th month then. So I was like, does that mean in the next 4 months she would die? Well, I wouldn't know. I now said, if your father do not want you and your mother, because she was hopeless about the girl, she was just like, we should just take her. Then I'll promise you, I was telling her in the home, I promise you 1 million kisses. Mine was that I wanted to do something for her so that at the end of the day when she's gone, probably when she gets to heaven, she will know that somebody loved her. So I started carrying her about doing research. So research is 18th, before 18th month they will die. So we started caring for, and she was the most difficult ever to care for. Because once it's 11 o'clock at night, she will start crying as in vigorously, and she will not stop until 6 a.m. in the morning. That was one of the reasons why I named her Abeke. Because I told the caregiver that, please, just be pampering her for me. So I'll be taking her home. I have no choice. I have to put her on my chest. I love her. Because she was so beautiful, but she does not even know how to eat. She didn't then. So I started making research about that. So like in our own case, asphyxia, let me put it this way, what caused it? Some parents, through prolonged labor. Some women, they have narrow pelvic. Definitely they could not give birth naturally, but they will say no. They want to give birth like
the Hebrew women. As if they are from Israel.
And you know. And some will say, permit me to say this, please, where are the or Laguton? And I ask, are they animals? You know, when they're supposed to go into the theater and have all these beautiful children, they will say no until it's late. So by the time they give birth to them, they are tired, they are weak, they will not cry. And once they give birth to a child, the cry itself is what helps the brain. It's what sends signals to the brain to start functioning. But when they don't cry, the brain starts shrinking and dying. If after 2 days or 3 days they resuscitate them and they start crying or whatever, it's not helping anything for that. Some things are damaged. So that's what causes Abeke's own caused us, is asphyxia means loss of oxygen. Therefore, spinal bifida, like I normally tell some parents, infection also causes this. Because spinal bifida happens even right from the pregnancy inside. That's between 3rd month to 4th month. So when the spines are just forming, if the mother is having serious infection, then by the time she moves to the 4th month and the spine have not yet formed, that's the end of it. Nothing is coming up. So by the time they give birth to such child, there's nothing they can do except God intervention. The child will not walk all their lives. And that's why through scan now they could see that. Like in developed country, they will ask them to evacuate such if they prefer or whatever. So that's another one. Then another one, you see, I realized that like in our side here, we prepare so much for wedding, but they don't prepare for childbearing. What do I mean by that? Oh, I want to get married. I should be blah, 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 this. And immediately they get married. You see their parents, they start asking, after 3 months, 4 months, Alpha, you understand? They want to know if they are pregnant or not. But during the courtship, as they were preparing for the marriage, were they preparing for their childbearing? That comes to when you mention folic acid. A lady that knows you want to get married next month, next 2 months, and you are still not yet pregnant, at least you should be taking folic acid every day to prepare the womb, and even the 1st trimester, the same thing. So like that, it happens too. They don't prepare for it. So there are some ladies that they even have infection, they untreated infection. And by the time, that's why you even see some that they are clamoring to have pregnant and they are not having pregnant. It's not about fasting and prayer. Let them go and check themselves up. Some they have accumulation or deep accumulation of infection. And this infection is the problem that they are having. Infection to women is not a cause, it's not abuse or whatever. Go there, check yourself before you prepare for that. So that one too causes it. There are some that they take too much alcohol. All these things cause all these things for these children, disturb their brain. Another thing that normally happens again is, you see, because we have a case whereby a child is with us that she has hydrocephalus, for example. And I can mention name for confidential purpose or whatever. And one thing is that you see some women, they get to know that they are hypertensive when they are pregnant. Pregnancy that induce such. And there's nothing absolutely doctor, medical practitioner can do than to start giving them drugs. Unfortunately, as we're taking these drugs, sometimes it affects the child in the womb. Same with diabetic. There are some women, they didn't prepare, they did not even know that they have such. It was during pregnancy. Also, many things happens when you are pregnant. So I normally tell our women outside there that please prepare yourself before that 9-month journey. So that you know that the only thing you will take will be what they are giving you in the hospital for you and the baby.
Thank you. Are we listening? Are we learning? Are we trying to make sure that these things that had happened in the past, we are not going to let it happen again? Let's save more lives. Let's save more children. Let's get ready for pregnancy. Don't let pregnancy fall on you. Be ready for the pregnancy. Make sure your body is ready to carry that thing, that little tiny sperm that will turn to a human being. And every day there is a growth that is going on. anything that distorts it or disturbs it, obviously by the time the child comes out, the child will come out with that thing that happened. I know some are unexplainable. I know some are unexplainable. But let us be ready. Do everything we could as a human being to be ready so that we don't end up having children that will be living with disability and unfortunately will now abandon them to the society. And for those that kill your children, how? How? Adetoro, you are doing so well in this thing. Anytime I think about you, I just call you that superwoman. That's the only thing that comes to my mind. Because dealing with one person that lives with disability, I know how challenging it is. I've seen parents that lament about getting support for their children. These are the ones that have taken it, accepted the children, loved the children, and doing everything they could. And for such parents, I know mothers, I know fathers, I say kudos to you. Thank you for taking care of them. One thing I would like us to discuss now, how easy is it to run this? Before you answer that question, let's go on a short break and we'll come back to answer that. I know we discussed behind the scenes. I've known you for a while and I've followed you on this journey for a while. And I know there are a lot of things going on. But let's discuss how easy is it to handle this. People abandon them to you. Is it the government that is funding you? Let me ask that first.
We are a private organization. Government is not funding us. But we send our thanks, even through this media, to all our donors world over, public-spirited people, and which definitely you will permit me to thank you too. People that are supporting us, helping us to help these special ones. We send our thanks to them. Society are really, really trying for us, and though we stay clamoring for more because
Obviously.
It's never easy, but we want to say thank you for people that have been supporting us. That one goes that way. Then for the question that how easy, let me just say thank you to God. I will not say it's not easy because I don't want to be ungrateful, but practically it's not easy. Because there was a time, I must say it, my daughter, she's the youngest social worker too. She had a diploma in social work too, doing her degree now and another thing. But there was a time may God help her to fulfill her purpose.
Amen.
But I sat and I asked myself that should my daughter ask me if she will want to institutionalize like what I'm doing now, I wouldn't think I'll be able to advise her to do, because it's never easy. May 1st, it was her 17 years of serving humanity. Wow. And 11 years of sheltering this special one.
Wow.
When people ask me this question 8, 9, 10 years ago, I would say it's easy because, it's my passion and I love it. I'm always said doing this, doing that, until 9 months, 10 months ago, I didn't know what happened. Something struck so hard, I lost my mind. You know, you knew everything. But you even got me therapist. Let me put it that way. I realized that I became hopeless, helpless. I could not function again. They drained me. Everything was blank. I couldn't do it again. And you knew for how long you'd be encouraging me. Even with the encouragement, I could not. I was searching for myself. I didn't know what happened, but everything got. So it was not easy because you will think about them. You will get to the office this morning. This one is not okay. We were planning to care for another one will happen. We even thank God that it's better now. because like we need more of medical support too, because we don't joke with their medical care, because these are people that could not tell us that this thing is happening to them, that thing is but we thank God that there are some of them, because we have to train them to understand us. Even if they cannot talk, they have ways of giving us signals. So you see one, by the time they see me or they start, and one thing about them, they will not declare what is happening to them until they see me. I don't know how they know that. The caregiver, I thank God, we train them and they are trying their best. But when they now see me, this my angel, you will now see one will be doing like this. I will now call the head caregiver. What happened to this one this morning? They will now say, okay, she did not finish her food. She said this thing to me now. So you know all those things. So it's never easy. But I feel one thing I thank God for that helped me, that make Adoka to still standing today, because we would have crumbled this past 6-7 months.
I know.
You know everything, because I become helpless. I could not even carry Abeke, but thank God that the caregivers are trained, and God even used that even to, he taught me another lesson. They were able to do the work for me when I could not even do it. I'll be looking at them like this. Myself too, I need somebody to really, I become like a baby. I could not do anything. And the more I'm not carrying them or doing this, it's affecting them too. So it's not easy. I would say for myself and people outside that's doing this kind of work we are doing, we need more of God and more of government support. We need, like you said the other time we were talking, like Omoba, you too, you need time for yourself. Because I realized that for 11 years straight that we have started sheltering them, I've never even had time, like a week, to even be by myself as a person. My friends are going on holidays, all this, all that. Even if the finance is not even there, because we need to care for these children. But the time, it wasn't. But now, we've realized that there are some things that we need to do to help ourselves. So yeah, I will not lie, it's not easy to run. But we thank God. And today, we are back. And I know you are happy.
Yes, I am.
I'm back.
One thing I believe we need to learn from that story, if you don't take a break, you will burn out. And when you burn out, those people that you are caring for, they are going to suffer more. Are you a mother? Are you a father? A grandmother, aunt, uncle? Whoever you are, take time to take care of yourself. One other thing, especially people that run homes or you are dealing with things like this, I always empathize with them. And a lot of times I call them and I ask, something is going on. You need therapy. In this part of the world, we take therapy for granted. We take therapy for granted, and we cannot afford to take it for granted. If not, your mental health will collapse. When your mental health collapses, a lot of things will be going on in your mind. And if you are not careful, you can even become depressed, become suicidal. And you can imagine you are taking care of 23 children. They have seen you as their mother. That's why a lot of times they don't tell the caregivers anything was wrong with them. Just like a mother, the nanny is in the house with the child or the children. They won't tell the nanny anything. But immediately mommy comes, and I fell down, I broke this, I broke that. They've seen you as their mother. And like I told you then, you needed therapy. And at times, when the time is on for you to get to the next level, it will become very difficult. It will be you are in the tunnel that you will never get out from. It will become so dark. Hold on. Light is about to come. Thank you very much, Detoro. I really enjoyed this.
You're welcome.
I love speaking with you. You know I love you.
I know.
And I love your children, especially Abeke Olami.
Yes.
We're about to leave now. And before you give us your last word, really, where are you situated? Because obviously you need our help. And a lot of people don't know you. You are not one of those popular orphanages. Where can we get you?
Yes, presently we are at 14 Bemisho Folau Close, Dominion Estate, off Shericon Bus Stop, Olambe. That's Ogun State.
Okay.
That's where we are now. But by the grace of God, we are having our Lagos chapter
Woo!
in January. In January.
Wow.
But for now, we are at Olambe.
Okay. Can you give us your number so in case we want to call you slowly?
081 0111 8670.
What's your last word for us on this show today?
What I will say today, with heart filled with gratitude, because even with all the struggles that I'm back, that I'm sitting beside you today, that I'm talking, I really appreciate God for that.
God is good.
Because I too, I ran to depression and all sorts of all those things that I never knew that could happen to me, but God saved me. But above all, I want to say, I will still say it, service to humanity is inevitable. I wouldn't have been here sitting if not because of great people that God used for me. People that at the lowest, when I could not even functioning, they will call me that something is happening. You are not this, you are not that. You know, and they were like, do this, do that, go for therapy, relax your brain. And even what we were clamoring for that seems heavy that we could not do. God says, send the light. He sent the light. And today, we thank God. And the angels, they are doing better. And I want to say thank you to society that is accepting them now. Because the rate at which they are accepting them now, which is a kind of purpose fulfilling for me, is quite different from how it used to be when we started Aduka 17 years ago.
Thank you very much, Detoro.
You're welcome.
This is She World on Divine TV, where we discuss everything about the female gender. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the very beautiful. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Divine TV, and download our app from the Google Store. You'll be glad you do. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.